Hello and welcome to the second episode of Retake the Week. Of course, the second week we're doing this, and we stumbled upon a bit of a dead one. It's not been the most busy week. There's been a fair few qualifiers going on in the open Tier 2 side of the world. Not too much in Tier 1, but there's still some stuff to talk about, some interesting topics. Joining me as he did last week, and as he probably will for the next 50-ish, it's Quacker, who is my little Swedish expert, who has had a bit of a clean up on his face, I can't help but notice. I'm sure many people will appreciate it. But hey, Quacker, good week. How you been?
Uh, this camera angle from the last week was a bit of a wake-up call, I think. Uh, I've been good. It's been a very quiet week. We've had some news in Sweden. We'll get to shortly. Some good results for Swedish teams. Mostly what I follow, of course. But it's
Yeah,
been a quiet week.
yeah, the expert. But yeah,
Mm.
as we said before, not too much to talk about. But let's open up with probably the biggest event of the week. I guess you could say it's a LAN. It's Pari Please. Now, if that makes no sense to you, if you think it's set in Paris, it's not. It's Pari, the betting website, Pari Vision, I believe they are, who also have a
Yeah.
team in this tournament, which of course brings up all kinds of conflict of interest issues. But, welcome to esports, where we just kind of shrug about it, say that could be bad. And thankfully, we
Yep.
bless ourselves. We are so happy that the teams who are sponsored by betting sponsors, by betting companies directly, tend to be complete trash. Harry Vision, despite having
Yeah.
Jerry leading the team, is
Yep.
Jerry, a couple decent fraggers, just straight blown out the group. Have you been following this event with any?
Not much. It showed up out of fucking nowhere. It was on on Tuesday they announced it, and then 2 days later they played the first game on LAN. So, I mean, the teams obviously knew, but like for spectators, I have no idea why they left it this late. Um, I barely like I heard, oh, there's gonna be a LAN, but I didn't check when, and then suddenly it had already started. I read a rumor today about Pari Vision, obviously being the CS division of Pari Match, who are also the betting sponsor behind this event. Then I
Yeah,
think
that's what
um,
it looks like.
maybe they rebranded because they use different colors now. But yeah, I mean, I guess it's cool. I'm always a fan of like a random LAN cup. I think it's in a lot of ways it does a lot for the scene. Maybe betting sponsor is not the best. Um, Purely from an organization standpoint, maybe it shouldn't be a betting company hosting these cups. But I love small lands like this where like mid-level teams get to like go there and prove their worth. And I mean, we've seen some teams kind of show up um, out of nowhere almost in this group stage.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a weird one. The format of this event, frustratingly, has the grand final on Monday, the semi-finals both on Sunday, so we can't really even talk about the playoffs. We could only talk about the group stage, and that kind of
Mm.
wound me up. I was just like, why did we go and do this? But there were some good games. Eternal Fire making it straight out their group, a group featuring Furia, who they battered. They just 2-0'd them. And it's not like Furia can use the age-old excuse they've used. They lose to nobody's go, oh, it's online, we don't care. This was a LAN. This was a real event, and you still got smashed.
Yep.
So they're still frauds, and they have been for years. They made it out of the group eventually, but they'd lost their own map pick twice against Aurora. I just think that's so
Mm.
weird. Get outplayed on your own map pick twice by this tier 2 Russian side. It's a bit odd to me. But the other
Yep.
group, a little less controversial. It just featured less big names. MIBR made it out 2-1. Nine Pandas actually topped the group, which was a bit of a shock considering BetBoom and Movistar Riders were the other team. It's a pretty balanced group, that group. Anyone could have come
It's
out of it,
balanced, but
but Nine Pandas come out.
I think it's definitely a bit of an upset. I'd say BetBoom and Movistar are teams that I would expect to do pretty well on LAN compared to Nine Pandas, who genuinely I kind of like the team, but they just they do fuck all. They've just been doing it forever, and they don't really get respectable results until now, apparently. So
Yeah, they're a
it's a big
weird
big
one
upset for me.
because they are a roster that we've seen the core of this roster in some aspects lingering forever, and they're constantly solid. They're constantly getting good results, making deeper tier 2 tournament runs. But it finally seems like they found the formula to actually be a successful team, and that's, get invited to a real event and show yourself on LAN, which so few teams in tier
Yeah.
2 get to do. So it's great for them that they've actually managed to make playoffs. One thing I would want to talk about though quick. Movistar Riders without Alex, I think this is a slow crawl into nothing. I don't see much of a future for this roster. Is there anyone on this roster that particularly sparks your interest, keeps hope alive for the future for them?
I think Mopas. Is that how you say his name? For some reason, I feel like you say Mopas.
I've been calling him
That's how they
Mopos
say it
the
in
entire time.
PPL. Yeah, I think it's just whatever. Mopos. Mopos is always a quality player. I think he's always a good, like, solid guy who you kind of want in a team like this. But I can't say there's anyone. It's not a particularly exciting team. I mean, just is kind of old. He's just been around. Adam S floats about, but he's kind of like he feels a bit like they had Saucel for a while. He's like this guy who shows up and he does all right, and then he does nothing, and then he just disappears, and it's kind of the same thing.
Yeah, he's
No,
been
I'm not
through a lot of
particularly
rosters,
excited about.
hasn't he? He keeps
Yeah,
showing up in random places. A lot of mixed teams as well. Bit of a strange one.
yeah. It's interesting to see that they opted to use Davig as the IGL, considering like they're obviously open to signing players who are like Portuguese, for example, and there are quite a bunch of Portuguese teams who would probably be down for a move to Movistar. Um, but still, they opted to like get a first time or practically first time IGL for this team rather than steal someone from like one of the random squads that I know nothing about from the Iberian region.
I think
But I
I
don't know.
think
I guess maybe
the
yeah.
decision makes some sense when you think he's just been in the system with the players for the longest.
Mm.
Like it just makes sense in terms of chemistry, understanding of his teammates. I think it does make sense from that point of view. Long term, I don't know about it. I don't really think it should be a great solid move to make. You should be looking for someone else. Or if Davigi does
Yep.
transition to the role full time, it'll be a better use of his fragging because he has none. That'd be a positive aspect, I think. Convert all that
What
noob energy into
yeah.
IGL energy.
Was Alex always calling this team? Because I feel like Deaths was calling it for a while.
As far as I'm aware, it's always been. You can find
Mm.
some record of it being deaths, sure, but I only remember it, Alex.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah. Um. No, yeah, no, not particularly. I think Movistar. Maybe it's finally over. I think Sunpias and Alex obviously were the two big, um, interesting characters in Movistar, and well, Mopos to a degree, but I think he's had his run. He's not going to do anything particularly
Well, Mopos
impressive.
was. I think he was a product of what Alex was able to call. I think
Mm.
that's kind of the point I was trying to make on the episode of the Double Swing with Yumi, where we're talking about this new look in IP roster. I'm thinking, yeah, Alex, good IGL, able to make something out of nothing when it comes to Mopos. Can he continue that sort of run and bring more out of config than we've seen in a long? Essentially, that was the idea at that point. I think, yeah, Martinez is a decent talent, but there's not much to talk about with this Movistar Riders lineup. Let's briefly talk about these semis and grand finals, though. Let's get some predictions, because it'll be done by Monday. We've got 9 Pandas Furia in 2 o'clock semi final, followed up by Eternal Fire MIBR. Who are you liking for these?
I think Eternal Fire are doing okay. I mean, maybe it's just you read the headlines where it says whatever. There was something that Santara said about like, oh, we're a really good team. We're a really good team. We're finally like moving up. I mean, they are like put top 20 ranked pretty solidly. Maybe not from actual tier 1 results, but there's definitely something they could do here. I think Wicadia has kind of showed up and been like more impressive than I thought he would be, because
Yep.
I remember when Eternal Fire signed that academy team featuring Wicadia, and they did fuck all in the academy league. They were like a joke team.
They were horrible. Yeah.
They were there to fill a spot, and like they had one game where they won, and people were surprised they could win a map.
Yeah.
Uh,
Genuine
but
shock.
yeah, he's dominating FPL. He's not that it matters, but like he's obviously he's doing stuff uh, in this layer of like professional play. He and Eternal Fire are doing okay. I think MIBR is an opponent they should be able to beat, and honestly, probably Furia as well. Well, they already did once, but probably even in a grand final setting, probably they can beat Furia again.
Yeah, I'm
Then there was
not.
also I don't know if you saw the headline where Major said he said something like, "Oh, there is going to be a Turkish team who win a major, like it's
Yeah,
like
cool.
soon."
Yeah, I've heard a
Yeah,
million things said like that, just out of nowhere, just blurted out. That's cool.
yeah,
Um, Fascinating take. You're on the team, mate. I'm not gonna just
yeah,
consider that analysis for you. I don't know. I think
yeah.
the Nine Pandas Furia semi-final. Let's put it this way: it's yet to be played. That's the best way I can think to say it, because there's no guarantee that Furia make this
Mm.
grand final. They really should. It'd be hugely disappointing if they don't, but I think they should. I'm not going to rule out Nine Pandas. They've looked on form. The other side of the bracket, yes, easily Eternal Fire are the favourite. They've got the best player at the tournament. They've had incredible results. They looked really solid in all their games, and quite importantly, sorry, I think quite interesting to look at. Wicadia, he's thriving. He's finding a good amount of fragging. He's finding some impact. He's taking like all their T side opening fights. He is doing so much legwork. Between him and Xantares, that's like 60% of all T side opening fights taken. The rest of the team
Huh.
is on mop up duty. Yeah, Woxic on T side takes 10% of their opening. I just got the numbers up. 10%.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
not
In this
taking a
event,
single opener. It's crazy
it's
amount.
only 4 maps. It's only 4 maps, but I just checked this event. Woxic has 7% and Major has 3 on T side.
Yeah, because I'm looking at the
Uh,
last month stat, not just this event. But like,
yeah,
yeah, and this event is even more extreme. It's actually insane. Wicadia deserves a lot of credit for that because, as you said, that team was a bit of a meme. Although it does seem like they signed them just to have them there to rotate through the. Because you remember there was times it was Wicadia, at times it was Dougie versus, at times it was some other guy who managed to fill in that fifth man spot whilst Eternal Fire figured themselves out. Whilst they found
yeah,
themselves on their trip through India. It was a bit of a weird scenario for them. They just weren't sure of who they were, and eventually they've landed on
mm,
this roster, which has been productive. To be fair to them, it has been very productive, and I'm looking forward to seeing
yep,
more of it. I think they win this event. I think they do it in pretty domineering style with Xantares banging heads. I think that's the winning formula. They're going to keep applying it and take this one home. Hopefully, they get somewhere
yep.
to a bigger event, like a bigger event. This is not the hugest thing. Major's sake, let's hope they make the major. Let's see if they can show something real on a big, big stage. That'd be amazing. But for now,
Yep.
I'm not too ambitious when it comes to their overall future. Let's just put it that
Yeah.
way. Pari Please, great. Major, maybe not. Maybe not.
Um, yeah, just a final note before we move on with this. I heard a rumor today. Or read a rumor that the 3 bottom performers on Perivision in this event, Exit Power Hagav is his name, the Wi-Fi password guy or
Oh,
Steam
Hegev.
friend code. Hegev, yeah. And Raijin, they are supposedly getting cut. So I wonder if this event was like, oh, we're gonna
Completely
invite
unsurprised.
everyone into our backyard and have a LAN, and yeah, we're gonna show really what you can do. And I don't know if it's just fake information based on them being the bottom performers, but I think it was Overdrive who said it actually on some Telegram channel. Um, yeah, supposedly they're getting cut already.
I mean, I'm gonna be honest. You you have a bunch of Nine Pandas players who are better. If you have the backing and the money to go get Nine Pandas players, for example, go do it.
Mm,
If you're Jerry, I mean, there's lots of talent to pick from, especially if you're limited to Russian players. There's guys on teams like Team Space who have shown a lot of skill, a lot of potential. Why linger
yeah,
around with these players who, like, Xe Power, I don't know how long he's going to be just rotating through the tier 2 scene, but at some point you need to just give up and try someone else. It's just so odd.
yeah, yep,
Okay, I'm just gonna redact, like, not redact, but like, I can't actually guarantee that Pari Please and Pari Vision is the same gambling sponsor. I've been furiously researching in the background. There are so many Russian companies named Pari in all caps
oh,
because it's just the word they use for gambling. I mean, I know it's the French word for bet, but it seems to be just a generic term for gamble, so we can't actually guarantee that they're a massive conflict of interest. I just realized that. I was assuming it. I saw the same colors like lingering about. I thought the branding looked similar, but it might just be a different company with almost identical branding. So essentially, not a
well,
conflict of interest, just a bad team with a teal colored logo.
yeah, well, they have the arrow thing, but yeah, I did
But
just
it's
check.
slightly different.
Uh,
I
yeah,
can't.
I did just check the sponsor on Wikipedia, and like it's a different website, just called Perry. Maybe it's separate from Perry Match. Then I
Well, this might not even be Pari Match. There's Pari Match, Pari Confusion. Who knows? There might be a lot of these websites. So
Yeah.
assume that's a linguistic fault on our part. And let's move on to the recurring, hopefully eternally recurring segment fixture of this podcast. That's going to be Prospect of the Week. Now, we mentioned Nine Pandas a dozen times. We haven't gone into any of the details, and that's partly because I picked one of the players who've been on this team and fragging out for my Prospect of the Week. He's not a player I've actually made a video about, but he is a player who really impressed me at this event, and he's a young guy who's kind of, he's not been in the limelight very much. But this event, especially the last month or so, he's been outstanding. That's Dealadez, I want to say. I'm trying to say that right. Dealadez, it's another one of those semi-Wi-Fi password-looking names with a lot of random capitals and numbers, but it's been an interesting event because if you look at this roster, if you've known the Tier 2 scene for a while, you'll recognize Klax and Glowing. You'll know that they are guys who get their numbers generally, and their teams do fairly well. The fact that he's come into this roster and at this event especially looked like the best player, he's taking a lot of big opening duels, getting massive multi-kills, generally finding a lot of impact. So great for him, great for the team if they've actually been able to find a gem in this sense. It's an interesting kind of roster to look at top to bottom though, because Ida's balance as the AWPer hasn't been spectacular. Seized the IGL has done a really good job bringing it all together. And overall, I've got some excitement for this Dealadez guy. He looked really sharp in the games I watched. Really hoping for good things.
Yeah, I could see why. I thought there was more coming.
Unfortunately, no. It's only really this event I've been able to watch him. There's not too much I can dive into.
Yeah, I haven't watched him a lot either. I've kept an eye on Seized, Klax, and Glowing for a while. Sorry, I did just move my camera. I've kept an eye on them. I remember in 2020, this was pretty huge. Or 2021 perhaps. It was one of the online RMR events. They actually beat Navi in peak form on Inferno, and I remember it was like a big deal because they did it in a really creative way, and it was like huge upset because they were an absolute nobody team in the CIS RMR, and it was like, how do they do it? But yeah, Deledis, since joining, over 300 maps played for this squad. He's been here, all the time basically, and he's the top performer. He's actually outperforming for the past, what is it now? Over a year on Nine Pandas.
Yeah, he's been there over a year, so I kind of got the timeline the other way around. The Klax Glowing joined them, not him joining Klax and Glowing. That's how I had it in my head, because they're the bigger names.
Yeah, but they were there for a while. I think Seized and Deledez came to this team from a different team at some point. So and that team in turn at some point also had Klax and Glowing. So somehow it all ties
back. All connected.
Yeah.
Threads of the Tier 2 history just start reconvening.
Yeah.
But no, it's
actually, I might be wrong. He never played initial TV map before he joined Nine Pandas. Correction on
really?
On my part.
Got some teams listed,
never.
Doesn't it?
No, maybe he does. He didn't play a map for any of them in that case.
Oh, that's wild. That's actually wild. Must have been a bunch of really open qualifier type stuff.
Yeah, actually, I lied. Sorry.
Oh, you lied.
I lied again. I just had the wrong filter. Sorry, wrong. Incorrect information.
You lying to everyone. It's fine.
Yeah.
We'll create our own reality. Now, quite importantly, on your side of things, we got another Swede to talk about, and this is a guy I do know a fair bit about. Who have you picked?
He's everywhere at the moment. It's Nilo, 18-year-old Linus Bergman of Metisport, which you might have seen doing some things recently. The new squad that formed, Nilo you would recognize from Young Ninjas. He kind of came in and out of the team, and I remember the talk at the time was, even though he was always banging heads, even in the very early We Play Academy League days. But he sort of came in and out of the squad, and the talk was that I don't want to go too hard into professional CS before I finish school, because he's still 18, he's still a high school student. So but eventually he came back, he popped even more heads, and now that the current Young Ninjas roster is dissolved, him and Adam B moved on to Metisport, a Norwegian owned organization. Some good names here, and they've honestly done pretty well. They have a lot of fans here in Sweden. They were chosen as the people's team in
People's team.
in a big vote. Like thousands of people, thousands of Swedish CS fans voted which is your favorite CS team, and Medsport was the most popular one actually.
Okay.
Out of the Swedish teams, NIP and Fnatic were discounted because they're not properly Swedish. But yeah, no. So Nilo, this week for him, he has a 1.23 rating, which is average for him. That is like his genuine average at this point.
Yeah, well, his average on Metasport does look like that. It's crazy.
Yeah, like there's a reason why people kind of wanted to try to put him into NIP at one point. I not officially, but like people in the scene we're talking like Nilo should probably be somewhere in this team. But it hasn't materialized, and I'm not even sure he entirely wants to himself. Like he is still in school. I don't think he wants to go for a huge like from what I've heard, he knows he has time, and
Yeah.
like he's just playing this out right now, and then he might go hard on it once he finishes high school. He's a very impressive player, and he's kind of making headlines, sort of in the way that Joel was doing a while ago. But hopefully, this guy
The
is match
forbidden
fixing.
name.
Yeah.
The name we do need to know about. But no, Nilo, yeah, real interesting player. Seems to be one of those guys who slots in wherever needed and just makes things happen. I think a good comparison of people who haven't watched too much of him, or any of this sort of lower level Swedish CS, you're only used to tier 1 stuff, you're one of those snobs. Just think Stown. I think it's the best way to think about it. You'll see Stown take extremity rolls, you'll see him take pack rolls, you'll see him anchor, you'll see them rotate. I mean, anchor not so much, but you'll see him take a lot of different spots on both sides of the map. And Nilo excels in every little thing I've seen him do. He excels with every weapon, and he's really just another one of those massive talents. I think hopefully he can stick with it. I've seen too many talents just fade and die recently, or get signed too soon, not make the right move. So the fact that he is choosing to stay on like a Metasport type roster does give me some confidence. But he's still got a couple years before he can really think about tier 1 CS. I think he's got time to develop himself, and we'll see what comes of it. But no, Metasport, I'm not surprised, really, they've become the fan favourites. There's not too many controversial names on this roster. There's a lot of younger players, a lot of players who people generally tend to like. Never mind how good they are,
Yep.
Jackie. So hopefully at the end
he's up by GLing, to be fair, for the first time. He's playing quite a difficult role.
That's
but
fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. But it's a lovable little roster, and Nilo is a player who you can watch for hours on end. You'll see different facets of his game all the time. You'll see really impressive stuff. So great pick for this week, and hopefully a player we can keep talking about in the future, perhaps even on a bigger team. Something I want to touch on. I thought briefly just get your take on this, because I've talked about it with other people, but I haven't really brought it up in our conversations yet. That's the Astralis moves that are probably 99% done, I'm sure, going to happen. That's them signing Stown and Jabby onto a roster where they're cutting 2 of 3. Most people are convinced of who those 2 are. How do you see this roster move on?
I'm pretty sure, yeah, the general consensus would be that it is Borup and Stair getting cut. They are the clear 2 underperformers. Buzz, I think, is doing all right. And also, there was that one thing Device said a couple of weeks ago where he said, well, the core of me, Blame F, and Buzz is one I can see going for years.
Yeah.
So probably it's not getting cut. I like the move. I like Borup. I rate Borup. I thought this was. Honest to God, I thought this would be like the time when he kind of broke out a bit more, and where it was like
Borup.
proving the hate.
Okay.
Yes, I thought he would kind of prove the haters wrong. I think he fills the role that he does well enough. Maybe not on this squad. There's more to be had, and obviously, if you have Stown and Jabby coming in, then yeah, of course, fucking send them down to whatever the fuck, Astralis talent, I don't care. But I think it's a cool move. I'm not entirely sure how you're going to fit all of these names into this team.
Yep.
I think it's getting a bit top heavy. Like someone out of Blame F, Stown, or Yabi needs to take a back seat more than they usually do. Which kind of concerns me about team composition.
Oh, massively, because you've got like what, at least 2 players at any given moment who want to be like alone or being set up by a support player on an extremity somewhere. You've got one player who's willing to take a hard entry role potentially. That's Buzz, because he's just the guy doing that. Like most of the time, these guys are not really that player. I've not seen them do that in their career. So I do think you're going to end up with a lot of guys going, "Hey, I really want to lurk. I really want to close rounds." No one wanting to do anything else. No one wanting to throw the flashes. No one wanting to take a hard-nosed entry role. No one wanting to do any of that stuff. It's going to be really awkward to figure out because some people are going to be real unhappy, I think, the first few months of this roster when they're told, yeah, you basically got to be the water boy of this team. I've got a weird feeling it's going to end up being Gabby. That Stal and Blame F are going to figure out some stuff for themselves to do, and Yabby's going to have to fill in the gaps. But in any case, I'm not too happy with the composition of the lineup. Obviously, firepower-wise, it doesn't get that much better for a Danish roster. You can't really do much more.
The more and more these shuffles play out the past few months and years, I feel like firepower is almost less and less important. I feel like there are a few teams at the moment who suffer. I feel like a more common problem is that you lack team composition, because you sometimes just, a good team composition can make worse players play very well. Like I remember JKS wasn't exactly doing anything for a year until he finally found like a home that properly suited him in G2, and now he's actually like a decent player. I remember Rain was pretty damn bad until they managed to get Rops into this phase lineup and actually like make it a good team. And he actually showed up like he's
again, They brought him back from the dead, it seemed,
Yeah, his rating increased by 10%, like 0.10 on average. And he's still sort of at that level on average. So it's like I feel like a lot of the time people talk about we're lacking firepower. Maybe it's symptomatic of a bigger issue, which is team composition, and plugging and playing one player won't really change anything.
Yeah.
I have just looked at this Astralis opening kill statistics. They attempt pretty much on T sides on this current roster. They attempt 20% pretty much across the board, which is odd.
That's just weird.
Yeah, Buzz and Stare would be the guys you would think would have the highest, but then Borup actually edges out by like 0.4% as the highest attempted opening kills. And then Device, of course, being the opera, he takes quite a few as well. Also his style to be sort of like...
He's been really assertive on the Astralis roster. Something we've noticed.
Yeah.
Far more than he was when he was on NIP.
Yeah, but then you're cutting Stare and Borup, so you already had like 3 players. I guess maybe it's map dependent. Maybe it's like this crazy thing where like your opener is different on different maps. Like maybe that's it.
There is some
whatever the case.
There's some teams that have done that in tier 2, but tier 1 teams, it's typically not this sort of mishmash, is it? Like it's not.
Yeah.
My turn, your turn.
Yeah.
I get to have fun. This is best of 3. We vetoed them.
Yeah, no, I couldn't tell you. Anyway, somehow Yabi is gonna slot into this. I can only imagine that Blame F is gonna have to move around a bit as well, because he's been really passive right now. But previously, both on Astralis and like previously in his career, he's been quite a bit more aggressive in terms of the opening role. And I don't know. I feel like Yabi suits himself as a lurk and like almost nothing else. But whatever. I honestly thought this move wouldn't happen. I heard so much talk about when this entire heroic thing blew up, and there was talk about the Astralis move. I heard so much talk about like, well, they aren't like Astralis cannot negotiate with them because there's 10 months left on the contract. They need to wait another 4 months, and if they did, then they're in breach of contract, and probably there's not going to be a deal. And then apparently there is going to be a deal now. Anyway, so
I'm pretty sure if anyone's going to know exactly how long's left on the contract and when they can immediately start making those negotiations happen, it's Astralis. There's a reason everyone's favourite executive, Nicola Nyholm, was talking about EU employment laws on Twitter the other day. Like, they definitely knew the timing. They knew exactly when they could make those conversations happen, exactly what they could finagle. So I don't think that's going to be the problem. I don't think the most stereotypical evil corporation of CS screwed up the legalities of everything. They definitely got that part right. Whether they picked the right players is a different question, because I'm pretty much on the bandwagon with everyone who's saying they should have picked up Shush. They should have picked up Tesses. That would have been a better combo of players to pick up for their roster. But hey, they chose the talented ones. They maybe know
Yeah.
the lore, but roster building not so much.
I think back to like when the last time Astralis made a big name move, which was when they picked up Config and Blamef. And it just kind of didn't work out. And of course, at the same time, they had Zipnix, right? So maybe it wasn't like one of the incoming players being a weak link. It was just the team was a weak link as a whole.
The team was weak. Yeah, it could be.
Yeah, no,
It could
yeah.
just be that.
Zipnix and Lucky was on the team. Yeah.
Yeah, there was issues beyond issues on that roster. But before we get too far down the rabbit hole of Astralis rosters that didn't quite work, because there's quite a few to talk about, let's talk about ESL Challenger Atlanta. Now, the main event itself isn't too much going to be our focus. It's in December. It didn't happen this week. But what did happen this week, or what finalized this week, was all the open qualifiers. Or closed qualifiers, sorry, even. It was actually all the closed qualies. And we ended up with 4, I think, quite interesting teams, because when I looked at it, I thought, damn, these are the teams that came out the closed qualifier. I thought these were a lot of upset runs. Not so much. These were typically the best team at these open qualies, or these closed qualies, making it through. I think maybe the opens may have weeded out some of the better teams you might have thought of from these regions. But out of Europe came Apex. Out of Asia came the Mongols, which is... Oh, I love how that roster just refuses to die. No matter how many changes, how many things go wrong, that roster's still kicking. It's mostly just Blitz and Techno left at this point. They've changed everyone else, but they're still standing. I love it. MAT made it out of the North America qualifier, and Bestia, the Argentinian team, made it out of South America. So the most shocking one of them, to me especially, a South American qualifier and Bestia make it through. It's not even like multiple teams get out. It's just one, and they make it out. So huge run for them. Surely this is one of their biggest ever results.
Yeah, over Odic and Red Canids as well. Names that mean very little to most people, like on the face of it, but their players mean quite a lot. It's Hard Zao, it's Nython, Bartin, Woody Turtle, like it's names we recognize, and Imperial, of course.
Biggest one, actually.
With so impressive for sure. Bestia, they still have Mayern. So I mean, I guess he's kind of proving
years after being maligned by MIBR. Still grinding. Gotta respect.
Yeah. Also, shout out to Slacks making his debut for M80 with the top performance in the close qualifier for North America.
He's found himself an even easier tier 2 seed to farm on. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Slacks, keep it up. Let's see him at LAN. Let's see how that goes.
Yeah. Oh, that is going to be great. I think Slacks is still like he's still got something up his sleeve. Like he's not. He showed when he came back to attacks just before making this move. I think he showed he had quite a lot left in the tank. Like it wasn't the be all end all. That weird Sprout stint that he had. So
that wasn't great.
Yeah, I like this M80 squad. I think it's gonna be cool. Also, shout out to the guy he replaced, Swedish American Wolfie, who is now on X Wildcard. But anyway,
yeah, personally, never been the biggest Wolfie guy. I thought he was an interesting player to talk about, but in the Lingby Vikings era. But that was just more because Bird from Sky was involved. But oh yeah, let's talk quickly about Apex. Actually, I think Apex is an interesting one to bring up because they've been at majors. They've done a lot of stuff recently. They've had to make a lot of changes. But overall, they're ranked number 20 in the world, which is the 5th best seed in this event. Do you think they've got a good chance of making an upset run? Now, I don't want to get too much into the other teams, but do you think themselves, they've got a lot more to show than their actual rankings?
They could definitely do something. I can't help but notice this is basically in a lot of ways is the same lineup that we have for Jönköping coming soon, in a week, actually.
It is next week, isn't
it? Monty, VP, and Game Religion are attending, and I guess that's the only similarity, but like the same invites, pretty much. It's an odd layer because you have a major champion team, you have 2 major playoff teams in the last major. 3 major playoff teams actually in Atlanta, but like between Game Religion and Monty. And then, you don't expect those things from them, so it's kind of odd to say. I think Apex could do something here. Apex, Monty, and GL, I think, are kind of fairly matched. Rumor has it Isak is going to be out of Game Religion at some point. I suspect the rumors may be true that he's going to Fnatic.
Okay.
But
What?
those are the rumors. People say like when I
Have
say
they
people,
stopped
I say like,
trying? Like what?
no, okay. I think Isak is a great pickup for Fnatic, but that's a different point. The
That's a
rumors
whole
are
other
like
conversation. Yeah.
it's a whole other conversation, but like yeah, he's in that conversation, and it's been talked about for a while that Isak would be leaving Gaming Legion regardless. Anyway,
No.
I
Yeah.
think Monte and Apex I think are fairly evenly matched. Complexity and VP are obviously the top layer. That's your expected grand final.
Yeah. Realistically, if we're talking Apex win this event or go to the grand final, they have to make it through one of those two. I don't
Yep.
see them doing it with Virtus Pro. Just straight up, I think Virtus Pro wins this event. This is the exact type of event they just cruise through usually. I think they've got a chance against Complexity though. Not that Complexity have been bad. Obviously, they've recently looked really strong. There's a reason they're the number 6 ranked team in the world. But that form looks temporary. That form does look pretty temporary to me. And I think we're going to have an interesting game. If these two match up for a big placement or on a stage, I think that's going to be a good fight. So hopefully Apex can make something happen, at least set up that match so we can get the intrigue. But yeah, that's a lot to look forward to. Qualifiers gave us, I think, the best possible result. It's always a shame when the close qualifiers throw out some people you don't really want to see. I guess we could have had the number 30 something best team in the world with Imperial come through instead of Bestia. But limiting it to one real upset out of these qualies is pretty nice. So ESL Challenger, worth watching, I think, and worth watching out for those storylines. Bit of a slow week, a bit of a down week, but next week should be a cracker. I think we've got a lot of big events playing, or starting at least. Not sure all of them will be finished by the time we record the next episode, but they'll
We have
definitely be happening.
The final of the fall final should be on the day we record once again.
Yeah, at 4 o'clock. So that'll be an interesting review and basically an event to recap because this week it was mostly tier 2 stuff, qualifiers, as we said at the start of the show. We'll be glad to get back into the saddle with some big events, some big names to talk about. Even if all the rosters are pretty temporary or newly assembled, it should be still an interesting thing to talk about. So that'll be all for us. Thank you, Quack, for joining me. And thank you to everyone watching.
Thank you.
I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.